We've all heard these types of comments. I have too. In fact, in grade 8, a friend of mine walked up to me in the hallway and asked me if I was a terrorist. At first, I laughed at the comment, but later I realized that I wasn't sure if they were joking. This experience stuck with me for a while. It didn't necessarily hurt me, but it still irked me. I laughed because it was easier than confronting the issue. But later I realized that his comment was not appropriate. I realized that if this was happening to me, I was sure that it was happening to my younger brothers and other Muslims across the world. People are ill-informed, and it doesn't help that the media can perpetuate these stereotypes. The thing is, a lot of people don't know much about Islam. The curriculum, in Canada at least, tends to focus on North American and European history and culture. So, while I was bothered by my friend's comment, I realized that it was something larger at work. His Highness the Aga Khan once said, quote, "When people speak these days about an inevitable clash of civilizations, what I fear they often mean is an inevitable clash of religions. But I would use different terminology altogether. The essential problem, as I see it, between the Muslim world and the West is an inevitable clash of ignorance. And what I would prescribe as an essential first step is a concentrated educational effort." Unquote. Over the next few months, I remembered how I felt about the comment, but I didn't feel I could do anything about it until I attended a lecture at the Ismaili Center Burnaby by Dr. Asani, a professor at Harvard University. He spoke about misinterpretations in the Quran and some common misconceptions of Islam. It was riveting. For example, the idea that Islam is a monolith rather than a spectrum of interpretations that is vigorously debated. I realized two things. One, there was this amazing history behind Muslim civilizations. And two, how much I myself didn't know about my faith. The way he talked about it, with pride and curiosity, made me want to share insights of my own. I was learning so much, and I was Muslim. Imagine what people who weren't Muslim might learn. I wanted to use this new information and share it with my broader community. At first, I thought about doing a TED Talk, but I didn't feel I had enough to share about and add to the conversation. But I knew I had to do something. So, I got an idea. Over the next few months, I kept in contact with Dr. Asani and talked to him about what I wanted to do. We emailed back and forth, we video chatted, and I even dropped by his office when I was there in Boston. I wanted him to come to speak to my community as an expert. We made a plan where he would come to Vancouver and speak about understanding Islam in a world of fake news and stereotypes. Now, I had a speaker and a date. With the help of my younger brother Razan and my parents, we got to work. We started sending out emails, we booked the music hall at our local community center, and we started inviting parents, classmates, and teachers. I also reached out to the media and local politicians to widen the impact and inform a greater community than just my local community. Maybe even spark more events like this across other communities. Suddenly, it wasn't just Dr. Asani who would be speaking. Senator Mobina Jaffer would be opening. Member of Parliament Patrick Weiler would be speaking, and then Dr. Asani. At some point, it was even suggested that my brother and I speak about what and why we wanted to have this conversation, and then introduce Dr. Asani. And then Dr. Asani suggested that we leave some time for the audience to ask questions, but that we would start by having a dialogue between us. What started as a simple idea of having a dialogue with an expert on Islam turned into something more than I could have ever imagined. On the day of the event, I got to the venue early to set up. As people started walking in, I started to feel anxious. Would the audience think that what we had to say was important? Would our message be heard? These thoughts started bubbling up inside of me. But an hour later, I was up in front of 200 people explaining why we were having this conversation. After my short speech, I introduced Dr. Asani. He talked about two main ideas: violence in Islam and oppression against women in Islam. Dr. Asani kept the audience engaged with a combination of humor, stats, and thought-provoking questions. One example was Rumi's elephant. He showed us this slide. The image shows 5 men surrounding an elephant, blindfolded. Each of them is feeling a part of the body and are sure about what they are feeling. They think they know what they're feeling. The man by the elephant's ear is sure that what he's holding is a fan. The man by the tail thinks that he's holding a feather. The man by the leg thinks that he's touching a tree trunk. Each of them describes the elephant based on their limited experience, and each of their descriptions is understandably different. We can see that the unidentified object is actually an elephant, but that is because we see the whole picture. We see the tail, the ears, the legs. A historical example. In the Middle Ages, nomadic Turkic tribes were perceived as barbarians. However, the truth was, they were just nomads. They were nomads that learned from those they conquered and formed a sophisticated school system, built amazing cities, and built universities. They weren't barbarians. We can see that if we look and stick to our part of the elephant, we'll have misperceptions. It's important to take into account everyone's point of view on any given topic. The response from our community was open and curious. They asked great questions and shared some of their own experiences. Overall, I would say that the event was a good start to open dialogue and breaking down stereotypes. But there is so much more we can do. It's a challenge that needs all of our voices to address. People today are facing global challenges. In history, the Silk Road was how groups shared commodities, ideas, and technologies. The Silk Road allowed people to be interconnected. It served as a knowledge society that encouraged the free exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures. In doing this, groups thrived and flourished. They were able to face challenges together. We can learn from this part of history. After the event, I heard from numerous students in attendance. Some told me about their own experiences with discrimination, while others felt they had truly learned something new. People thought that what I'd done was amazing, but the truth is, any one of us could have created this event. All you need is the drive. I learned about the importance of living in a pluralistic society and having religious literacy. But the most important thing I learned was that if you really care about something, whether it's an idea, some kind of injustice, or just something you think people need to know, all you have to do is take one step towards it. If you do that, the world conspires to support you, and things you would have thought never imaginable can happen. As youth, we are capable of making change. We don't have to wait for anybody. If you want to do something, you have the power to do something about it. Prophet Muhammad, Martin Luther King Jr., Malala Yousafzai. These are all examples of one person who decided to take action, and then people joined them. Greta Thunberg is a modern example. One person saying, "I gotta do something," In that journey of searching for solutions, action starts to take place. I would like to leave you with a quote from A Course in Miracles. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. It's not just in some of us, it's in all of us. Thank you.